Hey guys, this is my first video where I give impassioned speeches and try to convince you of things you might have not thought about. So the first video that I'm making is for libertarians. I have a lot of libertarian friends, and I sympathize a lot with where they're coming from, and they believe in voluntary transactions and no coercion, and there's certainly a lot to criticize in the government. But today I want to make one of several videos. In this one I will try to make a case for social safety nets and welfare on the basis of freedom, actual freedom, not just philosophical freedom. So let's see if I can make a persuasive case. Well, first of all,
We need more light.
well, I think we're fine. Okay, first of all, what is freedom? Freedom is having options. If you have no options, then it's not freedom. Moreover, options have to be acceptable to you. For example, if you have an option between working for someone or dying, and those are your only two options, I would say that's not exactly freedom. So to be free, you actually need to have a choice and to choose between things. That's what freedom is. Now, look at all these people who are, let's say, living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford necessarily to switch jobs. So we come to this other concept called switching costs. For example, if you live in a building like the one in front of me here, and you get electricity, you can't necessarily switch to another provider, because to do that you'd have to install piping going to your house. Maybe not pipes in this case, but electrical wires. But the point is, gas, electricity, you get whatever comes to your apartment. Your switching cost involves you moving out of your apartment, going somewhere else. Not everybody can afford the switching costs once they're locked in. So a lot of people need to have a job to get money, and if there's no safety net whatsoever, then they are at a risk of just basically running out of resources and dying. Yes, there could be charities, and private charity could take care of the safety net. But right now I'm talking about why we need a safety net. So we need a safety net in order to secure freedom for those people on the bottom. And there's always going to be people on the bottom. For example, anyone, God forbid, you could have something in your family where you get medical bills and suddenly you've used up all your money. You might have to help out your family. So when you're helping your family and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's nice to have options. Why is it nice for you? It's obvious, because you are more free personally. Why is it nice for the society? Because there are people out there, people like J.K. Rowling, who was on welfare and decided to write Harry Potter, which then led to billions of dollars in value for society, presumably for those who like Harry Potter. There's movies, there's jobs, there's employment, all because a woman was able to, instead of working at McDonald's, let's say, to make ends meet, she was able to take some of that time and work on her book. Again, this, of course, not everybody needs social safety nets, but it's good that they're there. So why is it good? In a libertarian world, there's market discipline, and it's unlimited market discipline, because there's no one besides the market who is redistributing the wealth. So that means that if the market says that you just run out of resources because for whatever reason you're not valuable enough to everyone else, you die. Because unlike corporations, when they run out of money, when LLCs and corporations run out of money, they just stop doing business. They're not people. The thing that libertarians and anarcho-capitalists in particular, the anarchists, don't want to really confront is that we don't want people to die from lack of resources. When I say we as a society do coerce a lot of people, at the very least, to provide safety nets. Now, this is maybe a modern thing. It wasn't always like this. People's death in the past and their destitution, being destitute, was more acceptable in the past. But now, we kind of have minimum expectations, which include having a roof over your head, having food, and so forth. That's why, for example, the food stamp program was invented. And before what we have now, which is a SNAP program from the 60s, we had the food stamps. If you look, the food stamps were invented because farmers had a lot of surplus crops that they couldn't afford to actually gather from the field. And at the same time, other people were dying from hunger. It was completely stupid, where the market was not able to bring these resources to the people that needed them. And so the food stamp program was specifically to help bridge that gap. And then it was improved and reinvented. Obviously, there's problems with the government, but the point is, these systems allow people on the bottom to have freedom to do things like, for example, re-educate themselves for another job. So right now, we have increasing automation, internet disrupting businesses, people are losing jobs, and they have to start educating themselves for some other job. Yes, there are massive online courses now, which are very cheap, but that's still starting, and most people still need a degree. So if you're actually going to school for a degree, how can you afford this on, let's say, a McDonald's salary? You can't. That's why you have state subsidized schools. And that's why you have, for example, sorry to all the people who are in McDonald's, maybe the manager does make enough money for that. But then my point is that you go to state subsidized schools, you can go get some assistance while you re-educate yourself. If we don't invest in people's education, we're going to end up with people working in jobs that were good 20 years ago and 10 years ago, but are being eliminated slowly. We're going to have a growing unemployed class, and those people will not have enough money to spend back into the economy. So that will lower demand for everybody. And people on the bottom have the largest of what's called marginal propensity to spend, which means they spend more of their money than rich people, because we all need to spend on the necessities and the basics, and the people that basically have very little money spend most of it on stuff they actually need. So that sends a signal into the economy to create jobs to produce more of that stuff. So that's basically the bottom line. If we're going to create safety nets for people, that will actually increase their options, increase their freedom, and help them to take risks. That's why in America, when we have LLCs and we have limited liability to your employees, than in Europe, more people are entrepreneurs, more people are taking risks, and overall it pays off. Not everyone who takes a risk will succeed, but there will be a lot of people like J.K. Rowling and like the guy that made WhatsApp, who was almost homeless. So government providing a safety net, not necessarily in the form they do now. It could be basic income, it could be other ways, but government providing a safety net not only increases the freedom for a whole lot of people, it increases their security, in the event of an illness and so forth, but it also creates a more prosperous society. So even if you're, after increasing the GDP, look into the marginal propensity to spend of the people below poverty level and below middle class. They have the highest propensity to spend the money that is given to them. So it's very worth it to take the money, give it to them so they could spend it back and give us a signal for what they actually need, what all of us need. So that's it. Thank you very much. Leave your comments below. It's my first video. They're probably below, but maybe now they're above. I don't know. They're probably below. Okay, bye.